Hi everyone. In this chapter, Glimpses of India, we are going to read three different stories from the three parts of our country. We all know that apart from the British, the Dutch, the French, and the Portuguese have also played a part in the history of our country. Can you guess which part of India shows French and Portuguese influence? Right, it is Goa. And our first story, A Baker from Goa, written by Lucio Rodriguez. And this story is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in his society. In this story, the author tells about his childhood days, how he used to wait for bakers, the lifestyle of bakers, etc. Now, let's start reading the chapter. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. In this extract, the author remembers his old days in Goa, when the village baker occupied an important place in life. When he was a small boy, he always heard reminiscing. Reminiscing means remembering or thinking. So, when he was a small boy, he always heard his elders remembering nostalgically about the good old Portuguese days. He also used to remember how the elders talked about their famous loaves of bread. The Portuguese were famous for preparing loaves of bread, and the elders, everybody loved their bread, and they often used to talk about their loaves of bread. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. We still have amongst us the mixers, the mortars, and those who bake the loaves. Now the Portuguese are not there. They left Goa, but the traditional work of the bakers is still continuing there. They have mixers, the mortars, and the bakers. Those age old time tester furnaces still exist. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. The furnaces in which the bread was baked still exist there. The thud and jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo heralding his arrival in the morning can still be heard in some places. The sound of the traditional baker's bamboo can still be heard, the sound made by bamboo stick, which is actually announcing his arrival in the morning. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These paders are, even today, known as pader in Goa. Someone in the baker's family still carries on the business and the tradition, and these bakers are known as pader in Goa even today. Pader is the word for baker in Portuguese language. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion, and guide. He used to come at least twice a day. Once when he set out in the morning on his selling round, and then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket. The author recalls how a baker used to visit the village twice a day. Once in the morning, while he was going to sell the bread, and again in the evening with his empty basket. The baker used to be the author's friend and guide. The jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep, and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? Was it for the love of the love? Not at all. The loaves were bought by some Paskin or Bastin, the maid servant of the house. What we longed for were those bread bankers which we chose very carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. He used to carry a bamboo stick. The sound of this stick used to wake people up from their sleep. As soon as the children heard the thud and jingling sound of the bamboo stick, they would run to welcome him. They chose bread bangles. The children chose bread bangles, which he made especially for them. Loaves of bread were generally collected by the maid servant of the house. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with the chang chang sound of his specially made bamboo staff. One hand supported the basket on his head and the other banged the bamboo on ground. And the baker's bamboo stick is a special one which made a musical entry when banged on the ground. With one hand, the baker supported the basket of bread on his head, and with the other hand, he struck the ground with the bamboo. He would greet the lady of the house with good morning and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. Wickets would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. Wickets would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. But we would not give up. We would climb a bench or the parapet and peep into the basket. Somehow, I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. Whenever the lady of the house came to buy the bread, he would greet the lady and place the basket on the bamboo. The parents would scold the children and make them stand aside, but they would climb a bench or the wall to peep into the basket. He still recalls the typical sweet smell of those loaves of bread. Loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children. Then we didn't even care to brush our teeth or wash our mouths properly. And why should we? Who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? And why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushed his teeth. Horty could wash and clean up everything so nicely after all. They didn't even bother to brush their teeth before having those bread bangles because they felt it was an unnecessary effort to pluck the mango leaves from the branches to use for brushing the teeth. They thought that the Hoti would wash their mouth, and they also think that the animals like the tiger never brush their teeth. Marriage gifts are meaningless without the sweet bread known as the bowl, just as a party or a feast loses its charm without bread. Not enough can be said to show how important a baker can be for a village. The village baker was important for all occasions. The villagers were much fond of the sweet bread known as bol. Marriage gifts are meaningless without these sweet breads. The lady of the house must prepare sandwiches on the occasion of her daughter's engagement. Cakes and boldness are a must for Christmas as well as other festivals. Thus, the presence of the baker's furnace in the village is absolutely essential. The lady of the house was expected to prepare sandwiches at the time of her daughter's engagement. On Christmas and other festive occasions, cakes and boliness were essential. And this makes the presence of a baker in every village very essential. The baker or bread seller of those days had a peculiar dress known as kabai. It was a single piece long frock reaching down to the knees. In our childhood, we saw bakers wearing a shirt and trousers which were shorter than full length ones and longer than half pants. Even today, anyone who wears a half pant which reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a padir. The baker or bread seller wore a special dress known as the kabai, which was a knee-length frock dress. When the narrator was a child, the bakers wore shirts and pants, and the length of the pants it was shorter than the usual ones. It became a part of their identity. So, anyone who wears such a type of dress is called as padir. The baker usually collected his bills at the end of the month. Monthly accounts used to be recorded on some wall in pencil. The baker would receive his payment for the supply of bread at the end of the month. So he would not collect his money every day. That is why he used to record it on the wall and collect the money at the end of the month. Baking was indeed a profitable profession in the old days. The baker and his family never starved. He, his family, and his servants always looked happy and prosperous. Their plum physique was an open testimony to this. Even today, any person with a jackfruit like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. In old days, the bakery business was quite profitable business, and their plump bodies show that baking it is a profitable business in those days, and the bakers were very rich and prosperous. Their family is never starved. So any person who is fat and healthy and who looks rich is still compared to a baker.